We always have a good time with Ty Hudson. You can do that as well. Head on over to Tusk Talk with Ty. It's right here on YouTube. Get your fill of the Hogs, and Arkansas starts along with everyone else very soon. Fall camp this week. We're 3 to 4 weeks away from football. Wide receiver, there were a couple notable transfers coming in. I'll mention a few. Isaac Teslaw is a guy that we've talked about a number of times that makes it to the big time now. So the jump from Division II, Hillsdale College, where he was one of the best players on that level, all the way to the SEC. We'll see if he's able to make that jump. Tyrone Bolden had 68 catches the last 2 years at Bowling Green. So again, it's not like he hasn't been on the field with big time competition, but only like once or twice a year. So there's a couple incoming transfers, and then a number of guys obviously held over from the 22 squad.
This is a tough one, in terms of grading, just like the offensive line. And it's also tough because of the amount of production that they ended up losing. When you talk about guys like Hazelwood, Landers, Katron Jackson, who transferred to Texas, the other two tried their hand in with the pros. Trey Knox, who I know is tight end, but he's a former wide receiver. He was definitely a favorite target of KJ, or at least there was that relationship between the two. I don't know that Knox ever really fully hit his ceiling here. We'll see what he does at South Carolina, but a lot of production gone in the passing game. And so that's going to put a lot of pressure on these new guys. Isaiah Centenia, freshman. He's going to be a redshirt freshman, 5'11", 178 pounds. He's going to probably line up at that slot position. Looked consistent all through spring camp. I was really impressed with him. I would say that of the younger players, I think he might have the highest ceiling of that group. But Andrew Armstrong's graded out really high out of Texas A&M Commerce. I have him here at 6'4", 201. That might be wrong on his weight, but he's 6'4", roughly. Someone in the media said I think he's actually closer to 6'5", but we'll stick with 6'4" just to be conservative. He was someone all through spring camp that was, I don't know that I saw him drop a single pass, and if I did, he only did it once. Looked very consistent. Now, it's hard to judge when they're, it's them going up against, a mix of ones and twos in the secondary, a secondary that was not good a year ago, but it's also had a facelift since last season. No more Simeon Blair, a couple other guys. Like it's a new group over there. We'll see how much better. I don't know that I saw them get a ton of separation from these corners. But then again, there were some other times when they were wide open, and they found ways to slip in through the secondary, whether that was fastball, what these little mini quick pace scrimmages they do, or just in their one-on-one drills. There's certainly a lot of size. Secondary players are going to the media. They're going to Hogs Plus, and they're having these exclusive interviews with Hogs Plus, who's given this crazy amount of access. It's really cool for them, and they're talking to those guys about these receivers. And one of the players, I don't remember which one, came out and said these guys are tall and they're fast and they're very difficult to guard, very difficult to defend. So we know they've got size. I mean, their average, you look again, Andrew Armstrong, 6'4", the guy behind him, Samuel Bakke, 6'3", 6'2", 6'3", Tyrone Broden, who you just mentioned from Bowling Green, he's 6'7". Isaac Teslaw, 6'4", Jaden Wilson, 6'3". They have so much size. Even Bryce Stevens, who's considered one of their smaller guys, well, he's like 6 foot, 6'1", somewhere in there. They've got a pretty good mixed bag, but it's a lot of size. Teslaw, you mentioned a second ago, he is someone that, I hope he can go out there and do what we saw in the scrimmage and in spring camp with these crazy one-handed grabs and whatnot. But if these guys, there's a lot on them because of the amount of turnover that they're dealing with. So there's going to be a little bit extra pressure on these guys this year. And if they adapt, if they remain coachable, if they're all 100% bought in and they're on the same page with KJ, I think it's going to be a very dangerous group. I gave them a B- score, but the potential there is, I think it's pretty high.
Yeah, the 4 leading receivers on the team are gone, including, and he's not among the 4, but our buddy Warren Thompson also not available anymore. But
You're
He caught
never
12
gonna let me hear
passes
the
last
end of
year.
that, are you?
I'm not going to let it go. I'm going to make some kind of connection every time. He's going to live in infamy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the receiving core, and I just in doing some of the prep work that I've done for these previews, and folks check them out. We are lining up like 25 teams. One of the things that I saw is lack of productivity coming back, but Sam Pittman loves the group that he's got. He thinks they're really going to surprise some people, that they've got the size that you just mentioned, Ty, and the talent to really be a quality SEC wide receiver core.
I was going to say the tight end group is another one to keep an eye on. You're going to see, again, it's another good mix of guys that have been here, like Ty Washington and Nathan Bax. And then you're going to have this mix of transfers. Varkey's Gums, who I'm very excited about. He might be this year's Warren Thompson. I'm just saying, in a good way, and that I'm really hyped about him. And then they've got these incoming freshmen like Luke Haas and Shamar Easter. They also brought in Francis Sherman. I don't really know what his role is going to be here. I'm assuming he's going to be a blocking tight end. He wasn't targeted a whole lot at Louisville. I think he might have been dealing with some injury stuff too. I'm not 100% sure, but Nathan Bax, 6'4", 250. One thing that I noticed with all this size they have at wide receiver, it's like the opposite at tight end. Varkey's Gums is 6'2", 200 and like 25, 230 pounds, something like that. Luke Haas is 6'2", 6'3". Ty Washington's about 6'3", 6'4". The biggest player in that room is actually Shamar Easter, another guy I'm really excited about. Unfortunately, wasn't here during spring camp, but he's 6'5", 225 pounds. But I am excited for them, but it might be prolonged excitement. You know, it might be beyond 2023. Like the future of that position seems really bright. Luke Haas and Shamar Easter were two highly touted tight ends out of high school. And Varkey's Gums, the transfer. If you get a second, anybody watching this, go watch his highlights at North Texas. He is he reminds me a little bit of a former player that played under Bobby Petrino, who now works with the media here, named DJ Williams. Reminds me a lot of him, 6'2", 6'3", 235 or so pound frame, but really athletic, pretty quick after the catch. So, yeah, I think the ceiling is high for them. It just may not be in 2023 just yet, or maybe it will. And if it's a position that really shines, I think it's going to be people like Luke Haas and Varkey's Gums that kind of lead the way at that position. But you're going to see a lot of Nathan Bax and maybe some Francis Sherman in there. Again, the Louisville transfer. But they've actually got depth there going into spring camp or coming out of 2022. I was a little bit concerned. Now it's like, oh, okay, they did a good job. They addressed the depth situation there. Not only do I think they have depth, Mark, but I think they got quality depth at tight end.
You cannot bring up a former player without me not looking up his stats to make sure. Is that the guy that I remember? Yeah, DJ Williams was a good player. 152 catches in his career at Arkansas. I was just going to say, this is what I love about these conversations, because what happens is I do all the reading, and I watch about 6 or 7 Arkansas games a year, and I can only remember so much about what happened last year. And with the transfer portal and all of that, there's so much influx and transition that you can't even rely on what you saw last year. And then I will flip on Arkansas for the first time this year. And despite reading all this, what sticks in my mind is our conversations. And I'll be able to say, oh yeah, I remember Ty talking about that guy and Ty talking about this guy. And I remember that about this. And it immediately makes that connection for me that when I turn on the game, it's just not a bunch of numbers and names on the back of the jerseys and stuff that I read in a preview magazine. It's our conversations and what I remember about what you said about these individuals.
Yeah, well, I'm glad someone is remembering at least something. I usually get the what I get wrong thrown in my face from some people, but yeah, I enjoy these conversations. I like watching some of your other conversations you have with some other folks, especially on the SEC side of things. But I think it's good to listen to if you're a fan of college football. I'm not saying it's good for folks to listen to me, but just in general, if you're a fan of college football, I flip on Mark Rogers. I've got all your, and I think they call it glowing up now. Is that what they call it? Glow up when you're bragging on somebody. I don't mind glowing up Mark Rogers a little bit because I feel like I'm saying that wrong because I know you're gonna have someone on that's pretty informative. So I know I'm probably at the bottom of that group, but I'm really happy that you have
Stop
me on.
it. Well, we will say, SEC fans, that the previews of fall camp offense and defense, in addition to Arkansas here with Ty, that you can look forward to, some are already posted, some are coming. Kentucky, South Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, LSU, Alabama, Auburn. We've got those nailed down for sure. So they're headed your way.
Tennessee's going to be dangerous, Mark. Tennessee's going to be dangerous.
I'm not going to argue that. Not at all. All right, folks, what else is dangerous is Ty when he gets on a roll. So you want to see that firsthand. Tusk Talk with Ty right here on YouTube. Got to check it out. Ty, always love it. Appreciate you being here. Enjoy fall camp. And we will reel you back in to talk some defense.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it, Mark.